Hello friends, Nick here. Wanted to connect with you now that I have my software set up. I am ready to help you work through some of these exercises with some tutorials. I hope you'll find them fun and informative. If you are unfamiliar with Excel, you will see some ways that I'm navigating the software which will help you become more productive going forward. So let's get started. First of all, we have given a set of 8 observations. We're going to assume that this is not a sample, this is the total set of observations that we're concerned with. So this is a population analysis, not that of a sample. You'll know that the equations for a sample are slightly different than that of a population, so hopefully this will make things easier for us. Anyway, to the first step of calculating a variance is to calculate the average of the observations. So we will start that, put a label here, average, with a colon there, just to let us know what we're looking at. And there are 2 ways that we can quickly do this. I'll do what the slightly more complicated way would be press equal. The equal sign is a signal to Excel that the information in the cell should be evaluated as a value, not as an element of text. So this is a way to tell Excel that this is something that you should evaluate and not just print out. So equal, and we'll put a new function here, a function called sum, which simply allows us to highlight a certain number of cells, close parentheses, and this will sum up all the values inside of that range. We all know that an average is a total, added a number, sum of all the values divided by the number of values that there are. So in this case there are 8. So let's go ahead and backslash is divided by, and we'll put an 8 in there, and the answer is going to be 11.75. Also, Excel has a wonderful battery of functions to use, so a quicker way than doing that equation is to do an equal. Average is the function, and again, highlight the same numbers here, close the parentheses, and we get the same number, 11.75. So that's our average. Okay, so now we're going to try and put together a table of values to work with to calculate the differences between the observation value and the average value. So we'll have one column, we're going to call it observations. A second column, call it mean, which is another word for average. It's more of a statistical jargon. And then let's say differences. So, and then we'll put statistics has a series of characters and symbols that allow us to do a shorthand notation of what these things mean. We usually call an observation a variable x, and then the mean for a population is going to be the Greek letter, small letter mu for a mean, and then the difference is simply going to be x minus mu. Okay, and to make things look prettier, we'll go ahead and highlight all of this, and we're going to go ahead and go to center it. Okay, so we have our observations here. Now we have our data listed in a row here, but it would be more convenient for us to arrange it as a column. So there's a quick method to do that. We'll highlight this set of data, and we'll do a Control-C to copy, and then we will right-click and say Paste Special. And here there is an image here says transpose, and that's what we'll do. It will take whatever is in a row and turn it into a column, and vice versa. So we'll do paste special transpose, and now we can see our data is now in a column format. Now the mean here, we're going to say equal, and we're going to point this cell to the average that we determined in step 1. right, so we have that in there. Now to evaluate, to fill in the rest of this column here, we normally would just do a Control C and a Control V here, but we end up getting a 0 here instead of 11.75. And the reason that is the case is because by default, Excel, when doing copying operations, references cells by relative location. So in this case, this right here, you see that the address this is pointing to is C9, which is the location of our average, C9. So what this is saying, like when I copy it, this for the second value below it, it's now C10, because what we're doing when we're copying is saying copy the value that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces above this value. So 6 spaces above C16 is the cell C10. So right now that's blank here, so that's why it shows up a 0 there. But if we want to override the default and put in an absolute location value, we can do that using a $sign. So before the column indicator, or the row indicator there, we put a $sign there. And now if I copy this, it's going to go ahead and lock in row 9 as what it's going to copy down. So do Control C there, all the way down, and it's 11.75. By putting a $sign before the letter, you're locking in the column as opposed to the row. Okay, now over here, x minus mu. So we simply put in the equal sign again, x minus mu. And there's our value, negative 0.75. And we can just go ahead and copy and paste to fill out this row, and we have all the differences there. Now normally I would just add on to this existing table, but I'm trying to avoid confusion, so we'll go ahead and copy this table down to the next section. Step 3 of the process here is to square the differences. So here we now have difference, it's E squared. Okay, now you can see here it's centered, but it's overlapping into different rows. So we'll go ahead and go up to where it's wrap text. And so now it's going to be fit 2 lines, so it's a little bit prettier. Okay, and for the symbol, I'm just going to copy over what was in this column here. And then I'm just going to put a 2 here. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to right click, format cells, and put superscript. This now turns that 2 into an exponent, so now it's the sum, it's the difference quantity squared. Okay, so now go ahead and press equal again, highlight that value in that column, and then to raise any value to a power, you use the caret symbol, which is a little triangle, a little pointing triangle thing pointing up. It's a shift 6. That's the caret, and then raise it to the power of 2. That's a square. Okay, and again we'll center, and we'll copy this and fill out the rest of that column. So there are, those are our squares. Now again, normally I would go ahead and just put it all in the same column, or same table, but I'm going to go ahead and copy it to this section for step 4. Now, step 4 is sum the square of difference. So that's simple here. At the bottom of this column here, we're going to go ahead and press equal. Then call that function sum again. We're going to sum all of these squares. And we're going to close quantity, press enter, that's 79.5. And to just point out to observers what this number is, I'm going to go ahead and say this is the sum value of the sum of squares of the column. Now, sums in statistics are often referred to as a Greek capital letter sigma. And we'll insert that there, close, equal, and just for also making it pretty, I'm going to go ahead and right align it. So now sum is 79.5. All right, now we step down here to the variance. Now the variance, again, this is based upon a population, not a sample, so the numbers will be slightly different. For a variance, we use the Greek letter sigma, but not just sigma, it's got to be sigma squared. And we'll get to that, why that is in a moment here. But here, put a superscript in here. So the variance is sigma squared. We'll center. Now that's going to be equal to the sum of squares divided by the total number of observations. In this case, that's 8. So our variance is 9.9375. Now standard deviation of a population is simply the square root of the variance or just plain sigma. So go ahead and put that sigma. So that's the reason why it is sigma squared for variance, because the standard deviation is the more important number, or the more commonly referred to number, and that is just plain sigma. So here we will press equal, highlight that cell. Now to perform a square root, you are raising a number to the 1/2 power. So you can still use that same caret operation, but instead of putting in a 2, we're going to put 1/2. So caret 0.5. Okay, and that's more numbers, more significant digits than I want to put in here. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it like the other ones of being maximum 4 digits. We will center, and our standard deviation is 3.1524. Okay, so that is how to calculate a variance and a standard deviation on a population. The numbers for a sample are slightly different, and the symbols are also a little bit different, but we'll get to that. But in the meantime, I hope this has been useful for you, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.